Holding, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Pieczenik. You being an expert in psychological warfare, I was wondering if you could comment on a story that's on the front page of InfoWars' website, which is about these low-flying Apache helicopters and messages being sent out to local citizens on their cell phones.
That's right. The stories on drudgereport.com from Infowars.com. Thousands of cell phone users receive government emergency alert. Kentucky residents told to prepare for action. We're seeing the massive buildup for domestic takeover. What's happening, Doc?
Well, I would not take that seriously. What they're basically doing is, in their attempt, they're trying to intimidate the audience by fear through sending messages. In their sense, they're going to say they're trying to prepare for any kind of emergency. But really what they're trying to do is to create incidences of fear, or what we call the Black Hawk helicopters, or the Apache flying helicopters, or the Hog helicopters coming down at very low flights. They monitor, they send out messages, and then they try to intimidate an audience. Just ignore it or jam it. If you know how to jam the signal, send it back up, and then report it to your local FAA, report it to the local airport.
Yeah, this is basically a conditioning psyop, like when they went into Panama.
Correct.
They're preconditioning the public for takeover.
Yeah, it's basically they did the same thing in 395 Miami Beach. They had a whole special ops program right in front of one of my bridges, and they made it look as if this was really very professional. The problem is the Army, the Navy, and the CIA have been watching too much of their own movies that they created to begin with. For the most part, they're not very effective. For the most part, I have used Army and FBI in hostage situations, and they were disasters. They could not rappel off of the helicopters because of rotation. They are not very effective in hostage survival. So the reality is very different from the images they want to portray. So the images they portray is one of fear, intimidation, efficiency. The reality is that they're a government agency that's totally ineffective.
Yeah, Mike, PSYOP. What's your take on it, Mike?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was just a snafu or
it's massively increasing, and it's also to condition the troops. But all it does is condition them to wake up. All I'm saying about the military, especially the Army, the most awake group, they know what's going on. Let's talk to
the Army. The Army's been told repeatedly, if they don't stand up and stop this nonsense on behalf of the Navy colleagues and the CIA and other parts of the intelligence community, they will be in trouble, and they will be denigrated in the eyes of the civilians. So they've been repeatedly warned by me and others that they have to stand up and say this enough, including against the President of the United States. But, Michael, it's basically a conditioning exercise. And if you want to have fun, take some jamming equipment.
Stop it. Pieczenik wants a revolution. Mike in Texas, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, Alex, long-time listener, first-time caller. I was wondering, what are we going to do if it does turn hot? How are we going to get the resources to fight this thing?
Well, I wouldn't be concerned. You have to remember that during the Revolutionary War, only 4% of the population of 700,000 men were involved in the actual fighting and combat against the British. In this particular case, the United States government cannot handle the mileage and the distances that occur all over the United States.
We're too spread out.
Texas, we're too spread out. I live in Florida. Alex lives in Texas. There are people in Montana where fewer than 1 million people. So I would not worry about it. But if I am a Second Amendment believer, I think you should have some of those surpluses. I think some of the things...
Stay there. Back in 1 minute. Stay there, Mike. Stay there, Dr. Pieczenik. Come back in 70 seconds. Infowars.com. A peaceful Infowar revolution against this tyranny. But finish up your statement on that. When you say things are getting hotter, I can see the machinery of the establishment trying to move, but it's mainly just propaganda and turns more people off. If I was trying to turn people off, I would do what they're doing. But I know they're not in a conspiracy against themselves. Do these arrogant people in government really think they built this whole thing and that they aren't just sitting on top of it?
No, basically the arrogant people in government are not as smart as you think they may be. What was happening and why I'm concerned is that this kind of arrogance exponentially grows. And what happens is they're going to start making mistakes. And when they start making mistakes, they start blaming each other, and that's what you see happening. You see the legislation burn the CIA is burning the White House. But in turn, what happens is the American public eventually pays for it one way or the other. So that what happens is they become more and more paranoid within the intelligence community and within the security community, and they start to act out. Acting out meaning they will start another false flag. They'll start another war like ISIS, which is absolute nonsense, created by the CIA, used by JSOC, again, run by a Navy admiral, where you have guys coming in and out, fighting Americans against Americans. This has to stop.
I was about to say, and then the Army has to go fight a group run by the Navy. I mean, this is insanity.
It's not only insanity. This is why your people and the young people of your audience who know hacking, who understand anonymous, these are the ones who become very valuable. And these are the ones who are the administration is afraid of them. I can't tell you how fearful they are of your audience out there that knows how to handle computers. Now, clearly, I can't incite you or instigate you, but I do caution you that if this continues, the absurdity of our civilian theater and the notion that Dianne Feinstein didn't know about it, Jay Rockefeller didn't know about it, John McCain, it is getting absurd, and it's costing us $1.1 trillion.
Let's get a few, I agree, a few final quick little questions. The establishment's gone crazy. Bill, you're on the air from Wisconsin. Quick question, please.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Dr. Pieczenik, I agree with 99% of what you have to say, but, you know, you seem to whitewash Herbert Walker Bush, and I just can't stomach that. I'm not one of the young folks.
I won't whitewash him. What I said is his only contribution was to help in the takedown of the Soviet Union Cambodia Peace Conference. The rest, I do not whitewash. He has approved George Bush Jr., he has approved Jeff, he's approved Neil, who's been a corrupt individual.
Okay, well, there's your answer.
So
Bill,
I don't whitewash that.
Thank you, Bill. We're not cutting you off. We're just out of time. Michael in Louisiana, go ahead.
Yes, gentlemen. In March and August of 2013, there is a case going to court, Shalee versus Bush, that was going to put the entire Bush administration in jail on the Nuremberg trial precepts. Obama stepped in and had that case quashed, and then went to the courts to seek immunity for the entire Bush administration. I'd like to know how this case fits in with the recent release of the torture memos, and if the
well, I don't know the case. I don't know if Pieczenik does, but
well, the only thing I would suggest is that's correct. That domestically, the president gave everybody immunity, but in reality, you have to take it to the International Hague Court. Anytime any of these individuals, the Bushes, leave the United States, they can be in prison. Henry Kissinger knew that. Michael Hayden knows that.
That's right. These people aren't invincible. They aren't invincible. And we need to let them know that the people are aware and awake. Dr. Pieczenik, thank you so much. Have a great holiday coming up, and we'll talk to you for sure, Lord willing, in the new year.
Thank you.
All right, folks.
Pleasure. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you. God bless you, too. Now, we're going to go to break here, come back and retransmission. Nightly News tonight, 7 o'clock Central. Pray for liberty, pray for freedom, pray for the First Amendment.
We've had an amazing year here at Supernet, buying up loads of ammo. At the same time,